Hello everyone and welcome back to the final installment of the favorite comics, and we are officially past the mark when it comes to my 15 favorite, and this is just a little follow-up about some honorable mentions. These are the books that I enjoy, that I remember just reading and falling in love with, and they're just really good. They're really good. They ain't at the top. They just didn't make the top of the list. And I got 6 choices to talk about, so we'll go through them briefly. This has been a fun time. I'm thinking about doing another kind of video like this, but doing maybe about television or episodes of a television show like The Simpsons maybe, or like Seinfeld. I might get into that, but we'll wait and see what happens. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about some of the honorable mentions that didn't make it on my list of my favorite comics. Starting off with the thumbnail, if you are watching this on YouTube. That, of course, is Booster Gold by Geoff Johns. Now, I'm a massive fan of Booster Gold. He's a very fun and interesting character when he's handled right and with respect. And Johns just knew what to do. You know, in classic Johns fashion, he's like, I'm going to take this weird character, I'm going to tell a very compelling story with him, take him down a route that's really cool, really engaging, really fun, and it just happened to work perfectly. I think this is a great interpretation of Booster. It explored the lore of that character in a way I don't think anybody was expecting. It took some really interesting turns. It made some really interesting conversation for that character. A lot of great issues, a lot of great individual issues and storylines about that character going through the DC universe, and it's a very fun piece. I just enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed seeing the world. I just really like Booster, and it's a great way. I'm a big fan of Johns. I know there's some people, for some reason, that aren't really big Johns fans, but I think it's good. I think he's a good writer. Speaking of stuff, this next one came really close to being on my list, but I decided I can't put it in the top 15, but it's really close. That, of course, is Geoff Johns' version of the Justice Society of America book, his JSA. It's really good. If you are a fan of the Justice Society like I am, you feel the love and respect that he has for these characters and this world. He is such a great creator when it comes to taking those characters. You tell the love and respect and admiration he has for that generation, that time period, and he modernizes it up where it's like, these are the classic characters. They're a little different and revamped. Some of them might be in a different body. Some of them might be older and wiser. Some of them might be in a different state at the moment, but they are still the characters you remember and respect from that era. And I'm going to take a really fun approach to it and tell a different kind of story than people might be expecting. It's a very fun portrayal, a very strong book. It gives you a lot of respect for some characters that you wouldn't normally think about. And it's just a fun outing to see these characters in a new light. I really enjoy this. I'm a massive fan of the JSA. They're some of my favorite stuff in comics. I'm an old school golden age boy. Like, I love that era. I love that feeling. I love what those characters represent. So having this, it worked for me. I know it worked for a lot of other people. It just shows that Johns is really good at taking those characters out of time, whether it's the past, the present, or the future, and it's telling a compelling story with them and doing something different. So I love the JSA. It was really close, but didn't make my top 15. Same with Superman Rebirth by Peter Tomasi. Like, this was the first Superman book I fully read that was an ongoing, just because I got into Superman boat really late, and he instantly became somebody I admired and respected as I kind of became like an adult. You know, when I was like a teenager, or even when I was younger, I'm like, oh, he's cool, but he ain't no like Superman. He ain't no Superman. He ain't no Batman. He ain't no Wonder Woman. But Superman, seeing it now, I'm just like, I get it. This is the book that made me finally connect to Superman on a level I've been wanting to do for a while. And it helped me understand multiple viewings of different Superman books and films and everything after I came back to it. It's a fantastic read. It gives us John Kent. It gives us so many fascinating and cool characters and ideas presented in the Superman lore. I know a lot of people are going to like it. I know a lot of people do like it. It's some people's, in a modern era, it's some people's favorite interpretation of Superman. And I had to put it on my honorable mentions just because it is what gave me Superman. This is the book that told me Superman was cool and mattered and was important. And I just think about this book a lot. It's very strong. And stepping back from the world of DC for a bit, we go to the world of Marvel Comics, where I'm actually thinking about doing an entire video about this character. That, of course, is Hawkeye, and I'm, of course, talking about Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja. This is the quintessential Hawkeye comic book. Like literally the TV show that's coming out is about this book. Every follow-up to the character has been trying to emulate what this was. It's literally just a reconstruction of Clint Barton that was so desperately needed. It's taking that character who was only popular because of the Avengers movie and turning him into something that's actually relatable, actually realistic, actually does some groundbreaking stuff with the character. Beautiful art, a beautiful story that's just slow and easy and light, but it has so much weight and brevity to it that it's perfectly Clint Barton. It sets up Kate Bishop in a bigger and bad way. She is who she is today because of this book. It's great. It is the perfect Clint Barton story. I do think there are other really good Clint Barton stories, but this is the one that if you want to like Hawkeye, if you want to understand the appeal of this character, this is the book that made it popular, that made him successful, that made him the character he is today. It all starts with Fraction and Nausea in the Hawkeye book. It is well worth the read. It's a really strong book, a great presence I know a lot of people would enjoy. And of course, probably one of the first books I remember falling in love with when it was ongoing and I was just like a young kid is Uncanny X-Force by Rick Morender. Oh, what to say about this book? It's constantly been in my mind since I read it. It's a great interpretation of these characters that come together. All these characters from like the X-Men lore that have a history of being like mind controlled or brainwashed in a different way, like Shadow King and Apocalypse and Weapon X, having all those characters come together to be like the darker side of the X-Men universe. Great interpretation. Some of the best interpretation I've seen for characters like Archangel, like Psylocke, like Deadpool. Characters that I don't normally gravitate to, but they worked really well in this book. It's a great interpretation of Wolverine going across the X-Men and Marvel universe, trying to figure out how to be the guy he's pretty much always been considered, but never really had the balls to step out and actually be. Like, this is the dark Wolverine that a lot of people would like and respect. And of course, this is the book that gave me Phantom X, the Phantom X that I know and love, the character that I've just been a massive supporter of and a massive fan of for years to come. I really like this interpretation. It's a very strong outing. It's very interesting, very world building in a different, unique way that's very cool and unique and experiencing fun ideas with characters that I wouldn't normally like. It's a solid 35 issues, I do believe, of a great and cool story. And of course, it wouldn't be an honorable mentions list without bringing up probably the most influential comic book of all time, and that of course is Watchmen by Alan Moore. Of course, this isn't going to be in the favorite comics. Watchmen is everybody's favorite comic, but nobody's favorite comic. It's just perfection personified. It's a great interpretation of what the attack and the like violent nature of superheroes is standing against, and how somebody can be like, you don't get what comic books are if you don't read Watchmen. That, I really think there's something something about that. It's perfect. Watchmen is just perfect. So of course it's on the honorable mentions. I had to bring it up in the slightest bit of form. How can I not do this list and have Alan Moore on there somewhere? Because Alan Moore is just the legendary weirdo that we all come to love and respect. I think it's cool. I like it. So those are my honorable mentions. There's a couple books here I enjoy. They're recommended. I definitely recommend checking them all out if you haven't already. They are good, solid reads, and they're good. They're not my favorite comics, but they are damn near close. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and this series. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, please give us a rating over there. It definitely helps out. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.